Oh, now it's okay.
Oh, it's good. But
Hey,
we lost Camille.
so I
Our
think this.
audio is fine.
Oh, we're live now.
We are live.
Oh,
Uh,
hello.
Hi. We lost our host.
Yeah, so it's okay now.
Mm,
So I think there's.
oh, it's Camille. Camille, you're
I
the
think
one.
it's Camille's issue.
It's Camille. I think you're the one.
Issue. It's a me issue, isn't it?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep, we can.
All right,
hear you.
everybody. If you are tuning in and if you can't,
Yeah, we can hear you.
perfect. You can hear me fine. Okay, I think that there's a little, technology is not going to hold us down because this is a great conversation that we are about to take place in the women's wellness for the busy women in business room. Yes, you know what? Technology sometimes it doesn't work exactly with us. Yes, like my camera is not the best. I have to take it all out because technology, but it's okay because we are all about having great conversation and that's what matters the most. If you're tuning in right now, I know we did start a little bit late. Great, so grateful that you are here. Please would love to hear where you are tuning in from. My name is Camille. We're going to do some quick introductions while I try to figure out myself. So I'm going to pass the mic over to Mary and then we'll get going back over to me. I'm trying to figure out this technology.
Take a look at your text. Okay, so we're good. I think that the issue is when Camille is not muted, our sound is a little garbled. So if we take turns and then we say, okay, I'm going to pass it over to Camille, or pass it over to Claire, then maybe we'll have better audio. Hello, everybody. My name is Mary Massey. I'm a personal growth strategist, and I'm also a social media coach. I'm also director of media for the Mom Link, and I'm excited for this conversation because it's been a long time coming. I'm excited to have Claire here as our guest today. We're going to learn so much today. So if you are watching right now at this moment, share this video with your connections, leave a comment, ask questions as we go along, and just be patient with us because technology is technology and sometimes things happen and we just have to roll with it. We just have to ride that wave. So I appreciate your patience. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Claire.
Hello, happy Tuesday, beauties. I'm very excited to be here. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Good? Okay. So I'm super excited about the conversation we're about to dive in. So my name is Claire. I'm a beauty brand builder and also a brand strategist, visual stylist. So I came from the backgrounds of fashion and beauty, and I have always been really intrigued about how to help female founders, especially right now. My mission is really help small business owners how to build a brand from visual visibilities and really make an impact through the consumer journeys, etc. So I'm very excited about how mental health and how brandings are really aligned, and I can't wait to really just to share each one's experience with our audience.
You're good, Claire. I think Camille's StreamYard is not working well from Canada. So, but you're in Canada too, aren't you, Claire? Yes.
I
How do I
am
sound
very.
now? Do I sound better?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have now demoted myself from my computer. So here you lovely ladies are.
Okay.
Hello. I think this is working now.
Look at you troubleshooting, Camille.
Yes.
You go, girl.
You know
All
what?
right.
It worked.
I'm gonna mute it myself. Yeah, it's working.
Awesome sauce. So yes, thank you all so very much. If you're looking at the replay, I hope you got a good laugh because technology, all you can do is smile. Because when it does work, it's fantabulous. It does it, it's so convenient. It does everything wonderful. But when there's a little bit of complications, it does put you through a loophole. But the key is not to get frazzled and dazzled and what have you. We just go on to what else can we do to get this going, right? We go on to the plan B. We just collectively come up with the idea and we get it done. And that's what is great about working and, having these great discussions with such amazing women, diverse women, is just the fact that we can, support each other as opposed to us being by ourselves and getting razzle dazzle. Say, that's not happening. So this is great for this conversation. So my name is Camille Jones, and I'm the founder of We Got This Mind and Body, as well as the program director at the Mom Link. And today we have a special guest, as Mary had said, Claire. And we really wanted to bring her in here because she is a branding expert. And as we know, May is all about mental health awareness. And why is this such a big, important conversation to have for an entire month? Well, because I know all of us, I'm not going to age us, but for us growing up in our era, mental health was a stigma. It wasn't even spoken about. If we had something going on, it was just like, just go drink some tea and go to sleep, you'll be fine, as opposed to us even discussing it. And what we have noticed now that we're all in the industry, that mental health also does even impact how we are doing our business, our branding, how we are showing up. Like when I think about some of the branding from the 80s, I'm just like Macaulay Culkin, because we really didn't take inventory of how that type of branding was being portrayed and how it was actually having a lasting impact on the viewers. So we decided, Mary, Claire, and myself decided, hey, you know what? Let's combine wellness with branding and mental health. And how is all of these coming collectively together? Well, let's just talk about social media and filters. Let's just go from there. But we do have some questions that we are going to ask each other in regards to the mental health and branding. But first, I'm just going to throw this in the loop because Claire, to know me is to know I just go with the flow. I feel like the best conversations are the ones that we have, like, as if we're just having a chit chat. And, the most I learn from it too, because we're able to resonate with it even more because we're speaking at all of our levels, as I always like to say it. So I have a question for you all first. We're both Mary and Claire, and then we're going to go into our other questions. But I just had to throw it in right away. Is for you in terms of your business, how has mental health and your image, your self-image, been impacted? So for yourself, Claire, when it comes to being in the branding and in visual, how has that impacted the way you show up? And then with you, Mary, how has it impacted you in wellness? Again, another industry that is really attacked on the aesthetics, right? Because branding and wellness have been, in the past, been looked at as just the aesthetics, but there's so much more to it. So I'd love to hear, this is a little quick one for you in your personal life, right? In your personal business, how has it affected, or what have you looked at in terms of your branding and how you want to show up and present yourself to the public?
I guess I'll go first. First, we have a little troll here, Camille, if you want to get rid of that person in your LinkedIn comments. So for me, being in the fitness industry, because I've been in the fitness industry now for about 15 years. And of course, when you're in the fitness industry, you're a trainer, you're doing all these things, you're very visual. I'm in front of hundreds of people a week. So getting pregnant is one thing, and then having to go through postpartum and having gained 40 pounds and having to come back to that space where I'm supposed to look a certain way because that's what people were used to, super fit, muscular, athletic, strong, all of that, very, very high energy. And then coming back after maternity leave, after having a C-section, after having a hernia, I remember at one point, I was about 5, I would say maybe almost a year postpartum. And I went to a fitness event and somebody I hadn't seen in a while asked me, oh, when are you due? Because I still looked pregnant. And that was a big shocker to me. I always took a lot of pride in the way that I take care of myself. And that also, to me, that means visually. So my branding took a little bit of a hit because of the way that I felt mentally. And I just decided to kind of like take a step back from that, but also showing my progress here and identifying what was working for me, maybe what wasn't working for me. But it did affect me mentally because to me, like, that was me. People knew me as the fit person, the gym instructor, the personal trainer. So it did affect me until I finally went and got my, I had my hernia taken care of. I ended up having a tummy tuck because I had so much skin. And a lot of people may not know this, but that's what I did. I had to have this crazy abdominal surgery because I had such a huge separation. I believe it was like a 4 centimeter separation in my abdomen. My son jacked me up, man. I'm telling you. And on top of that, I gained all this weight and I wasn't comfortable with it. Like I felt terrible. My joints hurt. And I remember asking myself once, like, how do people carry so much weight? My ankles bothered me going up the stairs. I could not wait to get it off because I would look at myself and I just did not feel good about myself. But that surgery, it took a while for me to come back from that and to finally step into, my own skin and feel good about the way that I was. And I talk about this quite a bit, that it wasn't until I turned 40 when I began to appreciate myself and when I began to really love my body, even though it had changed so much. So we see these things online. We see what people like the most. We see what they comment. We see what they share, and that becomes part of our identity. So it wasn't until I finally stepped into who I truly was and finally be okay with just being myself, because we have this brand, what we project on social media, but in reality, our brand is who we truly are and how we project that authenticity to social media. And that's when everything changed for me. And it was a progress. It was a process, I should say. But in the end, like here we are years later now. My son is 11 years old, and I finally am at a place where I can talk about it without feeling a little weird or without feeling like I'm letting people down, because it's who I am now. And they've seen the progression in the way that I handle myself in a more carefree, super authentic, silly way than I did before, when I was so concerned about, oh, what are people going to think if I post this picture of me and my little rolls are sticking out of my tank top? So that's what it's all about for me. It's just stepping into your authenticity and being okay with who you are first.
Love it. Love it. So now with you, Miss Claire, how have you? Oh, I love that, Mary. So vulnerable in sharing that, because I'll tell you something, and we'll get to you, Claire, too. Just I want to just talk on what Mary was just saying, especially with mental health and the wellness industry, because we are a lover of what we do, and we are always being judged by what we look like and what we do. I could see that complex, and I just want to salute you, Mary, for even being vulnerable enough to even share that, because I know that there's so many of us in this wellness industry that have to do certain things like the hernia, or just to make themselves or feel even better, but they will hide it, or they'll even feel shame about that, when in actuality, telling us how you're able to remove that excess skin, it doesn't, what it does for me, for the outside person, it makes me say, oh my goodness, Mary is human. She understands. She's been through all this. She just didn't just pop out babies and come out tight and right. Like, of course, a lot of people do, but there's so much times that people get intimidated when they are working with a personal trainer. In their mindset, they're like, Mary doesn't even know what it feels like to feel this way. She doesn't know what it feels in action, but without understanding even your own journey. And I feel that it's very important, and this is what I talk about with a lot of other wellness coaches. It's important for us to be vulnerable and tell even our clients, our everybody that we're working with, even our story, because so many people are believe what, again, I'm guilty of it. I would automatically think someone who's a fitness trainer was either an ex-athlete, a vegan of some sort, or have been working out for 30-40 years, when in actuality they've could have been less years, or again, they've had situations where yourself, Mary, where you've explained why you had to make that change, and how much it changed your mental health and how you showed up to your own business. So that's huge, and I love that you shared that. So thank you for being vulnerable on that one. So, Claire, I would love to hear from you, Miss. How has that been?
Well, I mean, there's a lots of things that Mary have just shared really can resonate where I am right now, which we'll talk about later. And then, but I think when you talk about, like, the brandings, the visual and the image, that is actually something I have always been in, because especially came from, beauty and fashions, and I've been in the industry for over 16 years. I have always been, like working from the aspect of with different type of women's, and then also working the corporates, and I know how is it like, to really care about the visual. And I know I'm someone that I really specific about the way how I look, the image, and all those little details of how I actually want to show up in the world. But I think that, there was definitely a certain point of my transitions, and then I think transitions is it's ongoing. At different stage of your life, you face different transitions, and how did you break through, and how did you learn from your experience, your, I wouldn't say mistakes, but I recall, even if you talk about, at one point sometime, that when you care too much about your visual, when you care too much about your image, especially the industry I have always been in, it can sound really superficial. And I remember 2019, which is probably the why that, I mean, I always will, carry out like I'm super good, I'm happy. And but there was also one point that I realized that I didn't even know that I was also suffering from mental health issue back then when I was working for corporates, the stress, and then on top, like I didn't know that I have anxieties, all those kind of things. And those thing was also like accumulations from, when what sometimes what you see from outside, it may not be really reflecting you the inside. And I've learned the fact is, I mean, that is still an ongoing journey, because I still want to look good. I want to look healthy, and image, it's part of the thing for me to feel confidence, but not a way of comparing. And that's what I've learned in my 30s, in my early 20s, because especially my industries, you always would tend to look at what other people are doing. Especially, it's a very competitive industry, and the people I used to work with, I used to work with models. When I a period of time in my 20s, I lived in Milan, and you always see all these like pretty peoples, and then sometimes you just kind of like, okay, why am I not looking like that, and but in the corporate world, when I used to work for certain prestige brands and for high top end makeup brands, and often you always have reflections, right? Because you're always trying to think, how can I be better, and then sometimes you erase your own identity of who you are. And then I think that really the breaking point, especially the last couple of years, I was also going through a lot of different transition, from relocating, moving after another moving, and especially when I shift online, there was a lot of information and filterings. So you always kind of wondering, this is probably the way how I have to show up on social. So you're always not able to be very vulnerable to share your experience, and you kind of put a mask over it to pretend on someone else. And I think this is probably something that in the last year, and I just started to feel like, what, maybe sometimes like I can look good in my own definitions. I don't always have to dress up from head to toe, but it's how to build a brand that really aligns with who I am. And I can really speak about myself, my own identity, and this is it's a journey that is always ongoing, because we face different stage, and people as a woman, I think we're all very strong and hardworking women, and we face different revolutions, and then we want to evolve. And then the more you evolve, the more you stop caring about those little details. You stop caring about what people are doing. And I think sometimes is to really also I have learned is to how to block the negative noise, and then really start to really focus more on where I am right now, because I think often we have forgotten about giving ourselves own credits. And I think this is just the world we're living in. Every often we look at our competitors, what they're doing, how far they're beyond and ahead of us, and then talking about transitions is right now, and then talking about, the well-beings and then the physical attractions. And even the last several months, I'm also going through, identify new identity as I'm currently pregnant, and there's also lots of anxiety. I'm kind of like started to keep in my head, because just like what Mary was saying, you start to feel different, your body feel different, and there's and there's a like in my 40, I this is very new, so embracing a very different part of me that I have not seen myself. It can be very intimidating, to be quite frankly speaking. And then what is upcoming, and then you also re-identify this new transition. What is my new identity? How am I going to continue to show up and still look like, hey, I got everything? But sometimes building a business at the same time, you still want to show up like being very positive, and still trying to deal with that mental health, because there's a different worries, because you're going to shift from different identity one to another. And I think you just always have to really be mindful. The fact is sometimes that when you're building a business, really also do self-check-in to see where you are right now. And it's okay to slow down a little bit, because I think the end of the day, that you will still eventually get to where you want to be. But it just always to find what works for you, rather than like, I think we are still living in that rush pace. I still do, because I always just like, how can I get it faster? How can I get move on? I look at people, oh my God, they look like they have another success. Oh, they're running another event. Oh my God, and on social media, often people talk about all the highlights, but not enough of the low lights, right? The reality. And then the fact is, there's a lot of things behind the scene that people may not share. So I think it's always the final word that I want to share is to give people to really stop sometime and pause, just to see how far you have achieved from last year or the year before, or even few years ago, where you were and where you are now. So when you do that, it just, I think at the end of the day, everyone has a different journey. And so don't compare your chapter 1 to someone who chapter 10. So I think that's kind of how I have learned and deal with my own transitions. Yeah, I think that's my final words.
No, you hit on a lot of stuff, Claire. Especially about the fact that we are our inner me. It can be our biggest enemy, and especially because I love that you said that we go through different transitions in our lives. And when we're going through the transitions in our lives, a lot of times we're so focused on the doing that sometimes we forget that while we're doing, we also need to be evolving and we need to grow, right? So, sorry. Oh, sorry, my mom is here and my dog goes crazy. So, yeah, so there's a little bit of noise there, but I want to say that was really huge that you said that, because a lot of us don't realize that as we are evolving and as we're going to different transitions, that we also have to take that mental inventory, that mental check, that mental note. Because just like yourself, Mary, I mean, sorry, Claire, you are going through a new transition in your life, which is, your pregnancy with her first child. And yes, she said it. I didn't say it in her foot. Like she's in the 40/40 club, and you would never believe it. But it's such a huge transition, given the fact that yes, you've been in, and so you've lived all around the world. Like if everyone needs to go and follow Claire right now. She has an amazing just like stories. Hey mom, stories. Sorry, I just in a bit. Okay. Yeah, so she also has traveled all around the world, lived all around the world, I would say. So even when you're saying this was new to me, I never knew that you were even in Milan before either. So, mom, it's just so awkward. Um, so, so I'm gonna pass the mic over to Mary because my mom is like staring right at me and it's completely distracting me. So give me 1 second. Sorry, Mary.
Yeah, no problem, Camille. I'm just replying to a message here, and I just want to address this because we have Sean Sullivan, who has autism, and he was asking about mental health and whether or not that impacts, if that has anything to do with autism. But what I want to say is that mental health is something that we all have. Sometimes we have a healthy mental state, and sometimes we don't. So safeguarding that is extremely important. And as we were talking about the whole branding situation and how we present ourselves on social media, for me, it's all about presenting myself in the same way as I present myself in public to the people around me, and really understanding what is good for me and what isn't good for me. The things that maybe I pretended to be before are not really who I am. And when we, like Claire said, we begin to compare ourselves to other women, and we look at what they're doing and how they look and how they're all of these different aesthetic things that we look at also within our own races, and what's normal or what's sexy or what's pretty in the Latina community, you know, in the Trinidadian community and in the Asian community, you know, all of these things. And then we begin to compare, and then we eventually arrive at that state as we get older, because the only way to really understand is to live through these things and to go through all of these different conversations in our heads and all these different scenarios to say, finally, wait a minute, I have a lot to offer, regardless of how I look, regardless of how I present myself on social media or whatever. I don't have to hide who I truly am. I can just be myself, and I have a voice. And what happens is that people will gravitate to us. So that's why as we get older, we have less and less friends. You know, you're for everybody when you're young and you have a huge network of people, a lot of friends. And then as you get older, you kind of seek that more, I don't know, those more meaningful connections, because it's more about going deep than going superficial. You know, you want to go deep instead of horizontal. And to me, that's been something that's very important, because I am who I am. I'm not here to please anybody. I'm Peruvian, I'm Latina, whether you know, feel that it's weird for me to not like spicy food or not, you know, I don't care. I don't like spicy food, period. And I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't have the big boobs. I don't have the hips. I'm not built like a Latina. But that's fine. You know, before those things used to bother me, and now they don't anymore, because who has time for that, really? I think that what people want to see from us is our true selves, because if we want to make genuine connections, we want to be genuine with people. That's what we want. Otherwise, we're going to get, if we're fake, we're going to get fake in return.
So I just had to, I have a great share for, that's in combination with both of you two, but my mom just did a pop-up visit. And I said, so Mom, since you interrupted our live, you have to come in on camera and say hi. So she's like, oh gosh. So, and first, this is a little quick intermission. And this is my mama. Hi. Susan.
Hello.
My sister.
It's totally like your sisters. Wherever used.
Yeah, exactly. Seconds.
Okay, that 10 seconds. Nice.
Mom, I love you. Thank you for coming and saying hi. My mom and I are like BFFs even. And you know you're BFFs when you can go like, yes, and then go, I love you. All the same time. So I wanted to really touch on what both of you all are saying, because you were hitting me very hard. I was on the mental health part. A lot of people say to me, oh, Camille, you're in wellness. You're already fit, or you already eat this. I already naturally don't like sweets. That's just me. And they would be like, why are you into wellness? You know, this is the first thing I would always get attacked on, or you look fine already. What are you doing? Well, all this kind of, they would instantly do that. But in actuality, for me, wellness is mental health. I started my journey on wellness because I was falling through a rabbit hole of anxiety. I would look at myself and become my biggest enemy. I started saying the worst things to my own self. And it wasn't until I started to take my own inventory, just like what Clara said, that, you know, when you stop and you just take note of what you're even saying to yourself, instead of listening to all these other people's opinions. And just like what Mary said, I'm from a Caribbean background where growing up in the 80s, it wasn't cool to have a juicy booty and hips. And I had that as even a kid. My daughter has it. We call her Juicy Booty. She loves it. You can't tell her nothing. She goes, look at my juicy booty. Yeah, because, you know, because we were back then compared so much like apples to apples, not taking into consideration our diversity backgrounds. And even amongst our own diverse communities, if we didn't look the same way there too. So it's like a double-edged sword. So when you're getting in a mainstream society, you're not looking the same. This is what I'm talking about in terms of the wellness industry. And then you're mixed in with your own culture background. You don't look the same. And then you're seeing a branding of somebody that's completely different. It makes you go out of the haywires. So that's why I was like, we really need to talk about how we're even showing up as ourselves and even in our brands, because our brands do speak to others, and we need to be able to express in a way that is in the that can really resonate with that person, and even give that person even a sense of feeling at home or understanding. So Mary, you even talking about your vulnerability with your stomach, or Claire, I know it's a huge transition with you having your little munchkin, which I am so excited for you. It's the best feeling when the baby comes out. It's like, I did that. I can't wait for you to have that experience. It's nothing that you can explain until it happens. Mary knows what I'm talking about. You'll have it, and it's wonderful. And then even me, I'm still dealing with my own insecurities of the fact that always loved wellness, but I haven't been professionally in the wellness for until the last 3 to 4 years. So I had this mental block now, even coming up with my business, that I'm not good enough, or I don't have enough experience. And especially, I also do not have the 17 pack or the who, but I am strong AF. Don't want to take me to a tough mudder, and I'll win it for y'all. See, so even though I don't have the cut dry, I'm still physically strong. And I realized that through my own branding, through my own business, the true power of wellness is loving the skin that you're in, celebrating the journey of your life, of your body, celebrating what it's been able to get you thus far, as opposed to continuously comparing ourselves to social media or what everyone says we should look like at certain stages of life. And that's why I feel it's so huge for us as women in business to talk about our branding, how we're showing up, be more authentic. Like I love that Claire. I'm kind of PO'd. I decide to put on a bra today. I'm just gonna keep it real, though. Because to keep it real, I like to let the ladies free, and the reason why I'm saying that is how I show up. None of you all would know that, right? But it makes me feel more comfortable. But because we get so caught up on other people's opinions or this visual, that we sometimes even put the bra on when we actually just let them free. Just saying. So would love. We are going for about 20 more minutes. I know that we did have like some little questions that we were going to ask each other. One of the questions I thought that was great that I saw on one of our notes that I'd love to share out to the group, and we can each tell our part there, because I'm loving that I see so many people in our comments talking about really liking the fact that we're being authentic, we're being vulnerable, and we're just being straight up. And I feel that especially when it comes to mental health, let's keep it real with each other. Let's keep it real. So many times, just like I think it was Claire that said that we always have to show up with this mask on ourselves, be this business owner, and we truly are. But sometimes we got to exhale. Sometimes we have these moments where we're challenging our own selves, and if we don't hear it come from somebody else in the similar kind of experience, we tend to say it must be me. I'm the only one going through this. It's my fault. I deserve all this because of what I did. Me. It's me, my fault. All of that inner blame starts to happen. And when you have that inner blame, that's when we start attacking ourselves. That's when we start looking in our mirror and we look different. All of the self-talk that we have is the initial key points to really starting up what we eventually begin to believe. So I would love to know, being in branding and in wellness, we all are in all different capacities. How have you decided to show up now? Like what are some strategic steps, and what have you implemented in your life right now to address these? I'll give an example for me just to kick it off. I journal everything. And I think I've shared this before in the past too, on how I do them. I name each journal, and every time I'm getting into a deep thought, especially when those limiting beliefs start to come in, I start writing myself my story, not what this limiting beliefs trying to tell me it is. No, I sit back and I say, I challenge it, and then I write it out, because there's power in the pen. So for me, the power of the pen has made me really express. I was an only child for 10 years. I love my sister. Thank God she was born. 10 years. I didn't realize how lonely it was until she was there. But now I use the journal. And because of that, it's allowed me to feel like as if I am talking out any of those limiting beliefs I may have had. So I'd love to hear from you all. And in the comments too, tell us too. If you're on the replay, you still writing. What are some stuff that you're doing right now to address your mental health in your business? And what are the
Mhm. Yeah, for me, it's about finding like-minded women who don't buy into the BS anymore. After a while, you just get to that point where you're like, you know what? I don't care anymore, man. It's just gonna be just be me, and I need to find people who are authentic as well. And I know that at first, when you first meet other people, other women, there is that little bit of a guard, and I did have my guard up for a long time because of that, because I just didn't want to be seen as who I truly was, or who I truly am. But over time, like I said before, you just learn better. You just learn to just be yourself, because being somebody else or pretending to be something that you're not is exhausting as heck. It's exhausting, and we don't want that anymore. We are moms. We have to make sure that we are also authentic for our kids, so that when they grow up, they don't grow up with the same insecurities and the same people pleasing syndrome that maybe we grew up with, because it's true. So when we learn to truly appreciate ourselves, when we look at ourselves in the mirror and we focus more on our strengths than our quote unquote imperfections, right? Because let's face it, as we age, there's always going to be that. And time doesn't stop for anybody. So I'm at a point now, I'm going to be 49 in a couple of weeks. And to me, that's a huge, huge eye opener, because next year is my big 50. And I'm still trying to come to terms with that and what that means, because in here, I don't see myself as somebody who's aging. I see myself as somebody who's very, I don't know, like active still, who thrives, who really loves to have fun, who likes to twerk when she's out at a restaurant with her friends, who doesn't wear a bra and gets on Zoom earlier with her networking group and says, "Hey, I'm putting my makeup on. Oh, by the way, I'm just in a bra. Sorry, let me turn my camera off." So these little things, like, things that you might feel so insecure about now, like nobody cares, because in the end, you're wasting all this time. And when you know better, you do better. But I wish I had been a little bit more secure in myself, and I would have done things a little bit differently. However, it's never too late to get more in tune with yourself, to understand who you truly are, and to show that authenticity to the world, because it is beautiful. We're unique, each one of us. We have amazing gifts. So I would say, just going forward, just tap into that, tap into who you truly are, learning the identity, identifying who you really are and who you're going to surround yourself with, that's going to allow you to come out a little bit more and to help you to feel comfortable. And that's where that community comes in. Yeah. Claire?
Claire, I don't think you're off mic. Mute.
Oh, I was
There you
muted.
are.
Yeah, I was talking. No, I was saying that I have to say you look fabulous, Mary. I could not believe that when you say 49. That, I mean, and at the end of the day, that just show, it's not about the numbers. It's just really, it's all about how you carry yourself. And I think you look fabulous, and it just the wisdom we all collect as a collective. I mean, so
Yeah.
I love that what you're sharing, and it's beautiful. I think for me, it's I am a big yogi person. I meditate. So this is one way to help me to find my zen, especially these days when I get anxious, especially these days. And I think for me, I need to find my grounds. So that is one thing to help me to put my feet on the grounds. And then I also find that what has been really helping me is when I like to actually, before I go to sleep, I always like to really reflect my date. Like, this is something I've been doing for you for a long time. And I like to just sit in the sofa and just alone, and then having my jazz music. And it's really just to reflect, your day. And then I started to also look at my past, right? And it's kind of just to see things that you have done, that you have achieved, because I think sometimes we have forgotten all those things we have achieved, and those are the little highlights of yourself better, and maybe you have not highlighted enough. And it's really looking at your past, all the credits you have done. And I think sometimes I feel like as a woman we also just kind of shy away, which is the topic is like shadows. I feel like we all have complete and achieve a certain thing at different stage, but life goes on, and sometimes we forgot to give out those credits, but those credits are something that it should continue to keep talking about it, to keep highlighting about it. And because this is a way to really remind who you are, and everyone comes from a different experience. And I think it's important to continue to carry that and really help you to find your strength and resilience as you continue to build, grow, and scale to thrive your business. And I do agree with Mary's what you're saying, because I think at this point of my life, the BS is really tiring. So I'm kind of done with it, as I'm also turning 41. And I think it's I think having the right people in your life, and when you're being sincere, and I think it's just be mindful to how to practice compassion and empathy. I think those are the things that I've learned, especially probably throughout my whole IVF treatments, and now being pregnant. I've learned to also just to look at the simple things in life, and sometimes we do forget about those little simple things in life, and I think it's very important. And I think as you learn, you grow older, you get wiser, you become younger. You also know how to filter your friends
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
right. And you're going to need that, Claire. When the baby comes, just be mindful of those crazy moms that are constantly
Right.
comparing
So,
their kids. Oh
right.
my
So,
gosh. Oh, my kid is already crawling. What's yours doing? Oh, my kid is just sucking his thumb and he's quite happy. Thank you very much. Okay. So
Oh,
just be mindful of that. Oh,
yeah. Thank you.
oh
So I need
gosh.
almost events notification to keep myself zen and calm, because otherwise I might go crazy. But back to the whole thing, I think it's just to as you get older, I mean, as you get wiser and younger, I think it's just knowing how to filter the right people. And I think it becomes an experience. And I think at the end of the day, whatever you do it from your heart, do it from your, from your God. And I think that will take you a long way. That's what I believe. And that's how I have been doing my things. And whatever people meant to stay in your life, they will stay. And if not, they go, and it's okay. It's yeah. So that's me. Thank you.
I had to come in here because you ladies are the bomb.com. And I'm telling you, if you really take inventory of your own vibration, of your own mental check, and sit in those silences and those pause, you'll see that the universe is always around you. And what happens is that energy starts to flow to you and through you. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to touch on both of what you all said. Mary is like she is my business bestie. If not, I'm probably stealing her from Karen. Yes, I said it, Karen, and Mel Robbins, because, and it's really amazing because for the first bit of when I first met Mary, she did have her guard up for a little bit, but then she had a little bit more trust for me and nobody else. Like this. And as we started to get to know each other, we hear each other's stories. Because remember, a lot of times when people have boundaries, have guards up, it's not because of you. Not always. Sometimes, yes, but not always. Sometimes we have up our own boundaries because of the past lives or experiences that we've had. Just like what Claire said, sometimes she has to go back and take inventory of even certain past things that she's celebrated, because a lot of times we're holding a lot of past things that are a failure. If you really think about it, when we talk about our past, a lot of people will talk about a lot of the tragedies of it, as opposed to even looking at any of the positives, the triumphs, those one little steps. I'm loving the fact that we're vulnerable enough too. Like I did, even hearing what you just said, Claire, with the with your whole journey with your pregnancy, we also need to be more mindful as us women. We're constantly being attacked about this childbirthing, or even whether we have children, whether we don't have children. That it's always a comment. It's always an attack to us as our person. If we're doing a good job, or how come you don't have kids, without even asking, or are you pregnant when you're not? right? And then it always falls back onto how we're feeling about ourselves. Are we feeling inadequate? Is our body looking the same? Our bodies do change whether we have children or not, but we are constantly being attacked and compared. But through understanding even your own mental health, what happens is, again, that energy flows. And what Mary said is so true. I didn't realize how powerful, I'm going to say it, I own it now, how powerful my voice is and how powerful and inspiring I am. And I'm saying it like this because it was very hard for me to say this even 2 months ago. I'd always come up with this because, yeah, but Camille, you're this. It was me. It was me against me. And when somebody would give me a compliment, I would always try to find ways break down their compliment, like, oh, thanks, but I don't really think. But again, it was my limiting belief. So what I've done is a practice for myself now is I'm so aware of my words, my language, that it's like it's probably drives my kids crazy now too. But I'm going to continue it because I even catch them doing it too now. So it's much like, oh, mom, they're catching on too. And what I mean by that is every time I don't say it's coming, it is here. I'm all that I have and I've ever desired to be is right now. It's happening in the now. It's not coming. Oh, this feel, you know, I am so happy that I am no longer and financially despaired. I'm not going to say it like that anymore because why am I going to talk about what I'm no longer? Because I don't want to put that into my dome because I've realized the languages that I speak. Instead, I am so happy that I get to live a life on my own terms with my own options because of the financial freedom that allows me to be able to travel the world for both my business and and for family. I didn't talk about anything about any of the negative of the past. And this is a practice that I've been doing for the last 2 years. As I think both ladies have said, mental health and how we talk and how we show up is a lifelong lesson. And because of the fact that I'm now learning that, the beauty of having a community, having a tribe, having individuals around to remind me, hey, Camille, you are amazing. Hey, Camille, you show up. You know, there's so much times where like Mary, I love Mary's, like she has that like she'll be like, girl, she'll just tell me how it is, and I love it. If the apple is red, she's telling me it's red. Don't tell her it's a Granny Smith. That is a red delicious, and you better. And you know, she likes to put me like she's very good at realigning when my mind goes astray. I'm getting to know Claire. We recently met on LinkedIn, and why I absolutely just was attracted to you, Claire, is not only do you have every time I talk to you, I swear you lived somewhere else or you went somewhere else in this world, which I think is phenomenal. Being able to be a globe trotter or even having these experiences, it really does eradicate a lot of ignorance of other people and other cultures, other situations, other environments. That is powerful. So just being able to do that, that's a celebration because a lot of people tend to stay exactly where they were born and they'll die in the same house they were born, right? A lot of times that happens and they don't really know outside. So that is so beautiful. And I love how organized Claire is. Claire's probably like, Camille's nuts. Sometimes, but I love it. I love how organized you are and structured. I caught that. And I was like, this is a great opportunity for us to all use our own diverse experiences with mental health, diverse lifestyles. Like when I grow up, I want to be like Mary. Like I'm still stunned that Mary is going to be 49 years old. I think she's lying. I want to see papers. I don't believe her. I think this is what she just used to get in the country. I'm just saying. Because there's no way. But you know, I'm just saying that what I'm saying by that is what I'm trying to say out of all of it, what I just said is the power of community, the power of using your voice, and the power of speaking up and standing up for yourself. When we stop, just like what Claire said, she has a nighttime routine. She stops and she takes inventory of her entire day before she goes to bed. So many of us will go to bed with the stresses of the day, leave the TV on, you know, get off of a hard conversation or just finish scrolling before closing their eyes. And we forget that our brains never sleep. And what we go to bed with, we're going to wake up as. And when we take those inventories of even how we react at our emotions, our situations throughout the day, it really does allow us to say, hey, you know what? Let's celebrate this, and this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. Right. So it's a great way. And I love those. I never heard of a nighttime routine, to be honest, like that. So
Mhm.
I'm just making this up as I'm speaking, but I'm going to start applying that.
Mhm.
I take everything that all of my amazing ladies say and I put it into play, because mental health, whether you feel like you don't have it or you do have it, I'll tell you something. We all have that 3-pound muscle upstairs, which is a brain. And that brain in this type of society that we live in is constantly getting inundated with so much information that like a combusting overload. So when
Yeah.
we start to understand that the power of focus, the power of energy, and the power of showing up for ourselves, us authentically, bra or no bra, hat or hat, with my mom showing up with the dog going wild. It is what it is, but we're
Mhm.
here, and that's a
Yeah.
celebration. So let's
One
celebrate ourselves.
one thing I want to add to that, Camille, is also the conversations that we have with ourselves,
Mm.
because we have to have conversations. And when those limiting beliefs creep in, it's a thought that comes into our mind. And that thought can be, oh, who's going to want to listen to you? Or, oh, you look terrible. Oh, yeah, that looks, you suck. Whatever thing comes into your mind, you have to talk back as opposed to just listening, like that one-way conversation. Like, you got to talk back and ask yourself, how is this serving me? How is this making me better? How is this benefiting me right now? And what's really true about that? Where's the evidence that I do suck, or that I do look terrible, or that nobody's going to know, or nobody's going to want to hear to what I have to say? So you have to talk back to that voice no matter what, because it's a good way for you to finally arrive at that place where you're at peace with who you are, the way that you think, the way that you look. So it's so important, whether you journal, whether you have your nighttime routine, all of these things are you being in the moment and really communicating with yourself. You want to go deeper, meditate. I meditate every single day. Sometimes it's for a few minutes, sometimes it's for longer. I practice breathing exercises every single day. And it's important for us to dive deep into who we truly are and really like be the observer of our thoughts and watch them go by. Do those thoughts bring in weeds, or do they bring in beautiful flowers that we can pick and bring to others? That's another thing too. Like, are you going to say those things that you say to yourself to someone else, to somebody that you love? And look at yourself as a child, like really comfort that inner child, build that inner child up. Don't tear that child down, because that child is going to grow up with problems. So do you want to have problems, right? So just be mindful of that. What goes on in here is more important than anything anybody else could ever think or say to you. Yeah.
Powerful, powerful. And you know what goes out here? Remember, the body keeps a score, as well as the creativity. The one thing that us, not the one thing, but the things that us humans have naturally, the innovation, creativity, compassion,
Mhm.
love, all these feelings that we do have, once we are taking authentic inventory of it, we are able to come out even stronger with our brand.
Yeah.
And brands really do come out when people can feel and see the authenticity behind it. To see, as opposed to just like the gold gym muscles. Let me talk about, let's start. That what would attract me now more is, lifestyle, because my lifestyle's here, there, and everywhere. I call my life Cam's world, and I need that balance. So that follows me even more. And I know that we are winding down to the room, so I would love for everybody to say what's going on. But I love this conversation, and it's really exciting for me because I recently just got offered an opportunity to speak at CanFit Pro Canada. It's one of the largest fitness and wellness conferences for the 30-year anniversary this August. And I was just like, what am I going to talk about? They're like, Camille, we know what you were going to talk about. This is why we're coming to you. You know why they approached me? They had over 900 applicants, people applying to speak. And they approached me because they've been listening, and they said, you know what? We're noticing a lot of your programs are all about loving the skin that you're in. We would love for you to do a teaching, not even a speak. There, I'm going actually up in the conference room to teach other wellness practitioners how to incorporate loving the skin that they're into with their clients, not just the program itself, but to really hound down, because they're starting to realize now that the branding in fitness has been so much built on aesthetics that even the people that are the fittest are still losing or jumping off the Richter scale. So there has to be a root cause, which is that internal feeling. So now we're incorporating into wellness, loving the skin that you're in. spearheaded by me. And
And
I'm
you didn't
telling you
tell
something,
me this, Camille. I'm just learning from this right now with everybody else. That's messed up.
I know,
Same.
right?
The same.
No,
I'm
but
gonna have
honestly,
to
I just
spank you when I
it,
see you next month. You're gonna get a lot of spankies from me when I see you in person next month.
I'll take the space. No, but yeah, I just recently got it. Got it. But I was gonna tell you about it. But I was like, let me just wait till this room because it goes so well and well. Because even the wellness industry is seeing the impacts of mental health and how they are even showing up. Even how they're showing up. It's not everybody doesn't want to always see all of this all the time. I mean, it's wonderful, but it also could be intimidating for somebody just starting or who have battled that self-image portrayed their entire life, right? So I'm excited. I'm nervous and excited at the same time, but you know what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it scared as we learn from
Yeah.
our community, right? So that's
So
what I'm
proud of
doing.
you. So proud of you.
And MomLink, just really quickly, MomLink is having a summit coming in June. I will leave the link in our comments if you're available. It's virtual and it's in person. And I'll be in Chicago on Friday. If anybody wants to stalk me, I'll be in a place called Oak Brook. I don't know where that is, but if you're in Oak Brook area, message me. I'd love to have some dinner and let's talk about it. So just wanted to share that and then pass the mic over to Mary and then to Claire. And just Claire, thank you so much for this conversation. And I hope that you love how Mary and I, we just jive. We just love to have these open conversations because this is what us women need. We need to be able to have these business and personal in combination conversations so we can feel safe enough and strong. The real power of strong, not just independent. I can do it all by myself. Strong enough, our who we are, right? Let's eradicate that whole I'm strong, I can do it. No. The strength comes with how we perceive ourselves, how we believe in ourselves, our own worth. Yes, this is who I am. This is who I be. It's all I could be is me. That's the strength. And I'm super excited to have you here and look forward to doing even more of these lives, even when baby's here, because you know what? That's real life. I'll go through it.
Thank you so much for including me. It's been phenomenal just to participate your stage and your energy, because I love what you guys been doing behind the scene and your missions. And I think it's really important, because I think often we just kind of keep going and we forgot those little, like the mental health is something that we have to continue to carry with us while we'll thrive in our business. So thank you so much for everyone who have turned in the conversation, and we appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, just be mindful of what you're thinking and just stop and think before you act. As a Latina, that's come in very handy because I have a very short fuse. Okay. You guys know me now, but you didn't know me way back when I was just like a little firecracker. So I've learned to slow down in my older age, in my wiser years. It's important to just pause and think
I
before
got to
we.
interrupt her really quickly because you see how Mary just said, sorry, first and foremost, I just figured out my computer. I had to totally reboot it. Now it works at the end of the life. But hey, that's technology. We still showed up, so we're still winning. But I just had to go off Mary because you see how she said, in my older age, I love her. Everybody go follow Mary right now on Instagram. Go follow her and just watch some of her lives. She's like, she is a little, a Latina, like on the go. Her and her crew is so motivating. So I just have to throw that in there, Mary.
I mean, I can still do Spider-Man push-ups. I can do plyo push-ups. I can do burpees. It's my lifestyle. And to me, when you asked earlier, like, how do we handle all the stuff? It's exercise. 100% is exercise is my drug of choice. If I go 2 days a week without exercising, I feel it. I feel it here. A body in motion will stay in motion. And it's also a great way for our minds to just take a break. Taking a class, doing our own workouts, listening to the right music, making sure that we are continuing to keep our bodies strong. Like anything else, if you look at yourself in the mirror and you're complaining about something that you don't like, do something about it. If you can do something physically, do it. If you need to do something cosmetically, do it. Just do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else. You want the boob job, go get it done. You want to take the boobs out, go get it done. Please don't do any injections in your booty. That's one thing. Like, please cut it out with the booty. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, stop it. All right. Stop it, because nobody needs to, deal with those consequences of a bad BBL or whatever you're trying to do. Just do some squats, man. Add some weight. That's it.
And for my poll from a lot of guys and girls, both genders. They love when it jiggles. They love the jiggle. I'm just saying. No, but you know what? I love that you said that, Mary.
Yeah.
Finally, now I'm seeing all of the comments. So I do apologize. We usually will be engaging in the comments, but again, technology tried to hold us down, but we said not today, and we still showed up. But I just wanted to acknowledge some of you amazing people here in the comments here. Darlene, I see a LinkedIn user. I'm sorry, I don't know who it is. Sean, Marie, Gwendolyn, LaDavia. I want to just say thank you so very much for engaging and rocking with us, because this is such an important conversation, and this is something that we have to now keep as an open conversation.
Yes.
And a way that we can keep it open is all of us are all here to connect with you all. We're here to collaborate and network and grow and build with each other. So do not be shy. Definitely give us all a connect, but check out all of our pages. We have so much going on with ourselves, both in the branding and the wellness and the nutrition, and of course that mindset, but most importantly, the support and the accountability. I don't take it lightly, because I'll tell you something. 1 year ago today, I was sitting at my desk saying life is over. I'm telling you all, if I'm traveling backwards just to tell you all what you see here today is a masterpiece, yes, but also a work in progress at the same time. And I'm so grateful that this work that I'm doing that's in progress is with a tribe, as opposed to last year when I was on that road by myself.
Yeah, Camille, let me just say one thing here to address Sean's comment. Exercising is hard for me because I have asthma. So what do you, in your mind, what is exercise? Is it getting super sweaty and out of breath? Because if that's the case, you are going to suffer a little bit. But you can still go for walks. You can still go for some hikes that are not going to tax your cardiovascular system that much. You can still squat. You can still weight train without having to run out of breath. So there are plenty of things that you can do. You can also, YouTube is a great resource, and you can find different workouts that you can do. You can even YouTube workouts for people with asthma. So there are plenty of people out there, including trainers with autism, that are doing their thing. So when there's that resourcefulness that you have to tap into, the success comes from not asking questions, but also making sure that you are resourceful, because the information is out there. So I'm glad that you said that. I hope that that helps you. And I just want to thank everybody again for being here, and to Camille for doing this with me on a weekly basis. We have been so consistent, and in that consistency, we've grown tremendously as women, as entrepreneurs, and also as mental health advocates and wellness advocates. And we wouldn't be able to do that without you joining us week by week. So thank you. And if you have any opportunities for any of us to speak, to educate your audiences, please let us know. I'm super proud of you, Camille, for going to CanFit. It's a great, great conference. Being in the fitness industry for all these years, I have heard so many things about it. I've been to some here in New York, but never to Canada. I've never been to CanFit, but I know a lot of people, trainers and presenters, that do go there, and they love it. They have a great time. So I'm proud of you, girl, for doing that. So kudos to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And again, Claire, thank you so much for rocking with us. And I know you're stuck with me, so you have no choice. And when you're stuck with me, Mary and I come in a package. But I don't really share. I do. I'm just joking.
I'm the one who doesn't like to share sometimes, but that's okay. I've learned to collaborate and and share more now that in my older, wiser years.
We're almost great.
We're young. Well, thank you so much. It's been fun, and thank you for all you do. Thank you for being here, everyone.
Yes, awesome. So if you want to get rocking here on the LinkedIn space, we will be back here on Thursday. We do have what it's called the Moms Link Women's Let's Talk About It Corner. And this week's room is going to be a good one, because one thing that we're learning in entrepreneurship. Sorry, I had to move it to my phone, so I am moving around here. My battery's about to die. But I'll just say really quickly is, so many of us are guilty of chasing that shiny coin. Like, what is attracting us to a shiny coin? So we're gonna debunk that. We're gonna have some great conversation, and that's going to be at this Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's on June 1st. And then on the same day at 1 p.m., we go right into our audio room here on LinkedIn, which is a Connect and Collab room. That's where, no, actually, Claire, I met you in the audio room. But it's a great opportunity when you go into these audio rooms, when you comment on these lives, these especially, they stay on the page. So that's why I always encourage people to comment on the lives, because when people go back to the replays, they will check out your page. The person that's commenting and engaging is more likely to get more hits on their page from people that will watch the video afterwards, which is great for the algorithm here on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is huge on participation. So make sure you're always participating. So on Thursday, again, we have our Connected Collab at 1 p.m. and 12 p.m. we have our LinkedIn Let's Talk About It corner. Just connect with all of us and you'll be sure to get all the invites. And if you don't get the invite, I'm going to stalk you. I'll give you the invite. Just saying that. But thank you. I know we rocked over the time here just because we had a little bit of technical difficulties initially. But again, we got it done because the power of 3 is so much stronger than 1, right? So thank you, ladies, so very much for rocking with us. And until next Tuesday, we will be here, whether we're somewhere or anywhere, or just, me. If you've been rocking with us since December, you'll know I've been in the dentist chair getting like major cavities and talking on here. So what that means to you is that if I can show up with dentist like this and talk about like remote like this, you could show up for you in every space and place that's gonna be about elevating that inner you, right? When you get that little spidey tickly sense, that means that just do it, right? Don't run away from that spidey sense. Go for it. Go to the light. All right, ladies, have yourselves a great one. Bye. Now to